Hello, Taurus. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, Tarot Illuminati by Eric C. Dunn. Supportive Oracle cards, the Spirit Animal Oracle by Colette Baron Reed. Okay, so I already shuffled. We'll see what we got here for Taurus. That's interesting. I don't know if that showed up for all Earth signs. I know it showed up for Capricorn. It's the lizard spirit. I just find that interesting when it shows up for Earth because it seems more fire to me. And it's showing up at Seahorse too, which I think was very similar to Capricorn. Okay, let's see what we got here, Taurus. The first, I don't really see negative cards here. I see a lot of positive cards. I do see a lot of positive cards, but I'm just like, let's see how it works out before we, commit to this positive energy. I don't know why I'm feeling that way. I'm just like, let's see how this works out. It looks really good. Let's see. Because I'm definitely an intuitive reader. Like when I pick up the cards, we see where they go. Buffalo, Moth, Emperor. This is your energy coming into it. And I noticed Moth slipped right out of my hand. Okay, so surrendering to a situation. That's Moth. That does seem to fit. Moths are an interesting thing in my opinion because when I see moths like out at like a campground or something, they do seem pretty, but they're also kind of creepy at the same time. So they're pretty, but they're also creepy. So, and I feel like this, like surrendering to a situation, like it's kind of like allowing yourself to like the situation, even though it's a little bit uncomfortable for you. You're trying to keep control of it. You're trying to keep an eye on it. It's kind of like things are working well. I don't want things to screw up at this point. I got them in a good place. So I don't really want to release my hold on the situation because it seems like that's asking for trouble. But at the same time, it's saying the situation does require you to let your grasp up a little bit, let it breathe a little bit on its own to really keep that success going. But it's kind of hard to do. It's kind of like you have a good hold on the situation. You're like, yeah, but I have a good hold on it. But they're saying if you keep doing that, it's going to strangle it rather than let it thrive. So to keep the success you have, you got to kind of loosen your grasp a little bit. It does not seem like it's easy, and I'm feeling like the Moth is explaining that I'm tapping crazily on the. There you go. I'll just show it to you. Good, cool, great, happy. All right, good. That's saying the beginning energy of this. Kind of like you need to let your grasp up a little bit. You need to let the situation breathe a little bit on its own. But it's hard to do. It's hard because it's like, well, it's going good, and I don't want to leave that to chance. But at the same time, if you don't, it's going to double back on you. With Taurus, though, especially being Earth, gradually letting it breathe a little bit, like gradually. It's not you're not going to do that. You're not just going to like, okay, I got it. Okay. You're not going to do that. It's just, I don't feel like that's feasible for this situation. But just kind of like, you got a really tight grip on it, just kind of like slowly forcing yourself. And I literally feel like you have to force yourself to just let go little by little. You're going to notice the situation does thrive on its own. It seems like you have instilled the values in this situation quite well. You've set the pattern quite well. And whatever you're dealing with, seems to understand that you releasing slowly but surely is like you're trying to show your respect and that you believe in whoever's working with you. It seems like this is more about people for most of you. You're showing your respect and that you believe in somebody. And this is bringing up that energy. It's bringing up more success. It's bringing up, like, this is getting the situation to thrive all that more. Because by letting go as much as you can, slowly but surely, you're showing that respect and you're getting a lot more devotion, a lot more loyalty. This is increasing loyalty because when you do that, whoever you're depending on is taking that extremely seriously, and they do not want to let you down. They do realize that if they screw something up, you're going to grab on just as hard as you did before, and you may not give them another chance to prove that they can do this. They seem to think this is very critical like that. Whether it is or not, that's how they're taking it, is the energy I'm getting. Now, this does all look good. This all does look good. As you're letting go, I'm getting stressed with this. I'm really getting stressed with this. This is not easy for you. I don't think this is easy for you in any sense. But the more you let go, I feel like as you're slowly letting go, you're understanding this. You're seeing that loyalty. You're seeing that respect. You're seeing this person or whoever take this seriously and trying to do the right thing and trying to keep it going. The owl comes in with the Two of Cups. Two of Cups? Yep. It's about talking about the devotion. But it's also talking about, other people. Like, this person's not only taking your words and not only watching you themselves, they're passing it on to others. And I feel like that's why this is kind of dipped down with the Two of Cups. They're showing other people, and in case you're wondering, yes, I'm an intuitive reader, so I'm just taking this as the information comes, because I do feel like this is passing on, like, it's not just you and them, it's like outside of that. Like, they're passing on what you think and how you do things to other people. They're getting other people to follow along. They seem to be instilling in others, this is how we do it to make it work out right. They're furthering the same energy to others. It seems to be making your life a lot easier. And I'm getting the butterfly coming in here. Like, this is literally where the situation seems to transition up a couple levels. Like, it's a couple levels up. Because this energy is now, you're releasing your grasp, letting this other person prove to you their loyalty and respect. They're then taking that same energy and transferring it onto other people and bringing other people into the fold, but also like keeping those people in line. Like, no, this is how we got to do it. No, this is how it's done. No, this do it this way. And they're keeping an eye on that. This is the transition to the next level up. This is also, the Wheel of Fortune is coming in with the butterfly. Like, it's transition, but it's also like the Wheel of Fate turning in your favor, kind of other people coming into the situation, going much better than you expected, things going much better than you expected them to. The thing is, when this extra energy enters in, when this butterfly energy, this transition, these extra people add in, there is a bit of discord with it. But I feel like this other person, when this happens, this person that you're letting your grasp go on has proven their loyalty and respect to you, that you're having faith in them. You're giving them this shot slash chance. That's the shot. Yep. You're giving them this opportunity to prove that they can do this. It's a little bit crazy energy I'm getting with the squirrel, but the Fool card is like, well, you're really hopeful. You're like, if they can get this under control, and if they can prove to you they can do this, this is really good for you and them and the whole situation. You're like, well, this could be really good all the way around. Let's see if this can work. The thing is, you're not going to completely walk away. You're also keeping your eye where you can, kind of like, well, that's still working. That's still working. That's a little rough. But this person is going right over there to fix it. Okay, well, I guess. You're not completely walking away. I just feel like that's not going to happen. You're not going to completely walk away and be like, well, we'll see how it goes. I know it's the Fool card, but the way it works for Taurus is like, yeah, I'm giving this person a chance, but I'm keeping my eye here and there. And, okay. Like, you're just, okay, all right, we'll see. I'm trying. I feel like that energy on your side. Like, I'm trying to give them their just due. They know you're there, too. They're not foolish. They know you're there. The Fool card is only going to go so far with this, is what I'm getting. I know it's the Fool card, but I feel like how you feel about it, what's actually happening is the difference. Like, you're not just going, hey, hope it works out later, going to go play ball now, going to go play a round of golf, taking a vacation down a couple states. Let me know how that works out when I get back. You're not going to do that. There's no way you're going to completely let go that way. It's just not going to happen. I just don't feel it. You are backing off, though. But you still got your eye watching, and you are backing off, though. Okay, cool. The wolf spirit, turn knowledge into wisdom. Wolf does have a very teacher energy to it, in my opinion. It's coming forward in the sense of, like, this person is loyal to you, does respect you, has to learn their own lessons, is very careful to make sure things work out. They're learning what it really takes to make this work out. They're learning why it's so hard for you to let go and to let this happen, and why you just had a hard time letting this happen. They're understanding this now, because now they're getting just as invested. They're seeing the success. They're also seeing like having to have confidence in somebody to keep it going, and not wanting to take the chance to let it screw up takes a lot. I feel like they're learning the lesson that you are trying to work through yourself. Mishaps happen. Mishaps do happen. This is a reality for you. You're like, yeah, that happens all the time. Things go a little wonky. It's just the difference between, like, screwing up the frosting to a cake and having to remake it versus dropping the cake on the floor and having to start from scratch again. If it's just the frosting, didn't work out that right, all right, let's whip up another batch of frosting. Not really the greatest, but not the worst. You drop the cake on the floor and it's obliterated, well, there's no fixing that. We got to start back at square one. So it's like, how bad are the mess-ups? That's the difference. Like, you want to make sure the cake doesn't end up on the floor, and you got to start from square one. If you screw up the icing, though, you screw up the icing. It's not something you want to do. It's easier to fix, though. It's easier to start from scratch with just the icing rather than the whole stupid cake. Because there are mess ups here. It's going to happen. There's no way it's not. You're in the reality part. Yeah, it's like a fart in church. I don't know why I said that, but there you go. You're in the reality of it. Like, these things happen. You deal with it, you move on. You handle it. You just try to make sure that it's just not completely devastating. These two cards. One of them is the Mouse Spirit. The other one is the Prince of Wands. The mess ups that are happening in this situation, it's like little things. It's little things is what I'm getting with the mouse. But they're pop up, like bam here, bam there, bam here, bam there. It's just little things, though. At this point, I don't see you getting overly involved, but no, I think that's okay. This person has to learn the hard way to how to deal with that. I feel like you have knowledge to share on this, but maybe it's just not the right time to share that knowledge, because I feel like you're waiting for your opportunity. Like, it's kind of like, when you know somebody's doing something wrong, and it's kind of like, if they're in a frenzy, trying to help them when they're in a frenzy, they're not going to grab on to as much of what you're trying to show them as if, like, that when it calms down and they approach you and they want your knowledge, they're going to absorb a lot more of it. You know what I mean? When somebody's just kind of like freaking out and having a hard time, and you're trying to help them and tell them what to do, they don't grasp as much as in when they want your knowledge and they're like, I need help, I need this to go differently, what do I need to do? And they go towards you and they're like, please help me, please tell me. Like, it's a different, like, it's like if you try to go to them when they're upset and they're not handling it well, maybe they'll retain 30% of it, but vice versa, if they're coming to you and asking for it, they might retain 70% of it. I feel like that makes sense. I'm not gonna worry about it. You're waiting for this person to approach you, though. I think that's what's going on, and you're waiting for your moment, realizing it's better for them to approach you and want your information rather than you trying to push it over to them and trying to push it onto them. It does need to happen, though, at some point. This person, they don't want to let you down. They do not want to let you down in any sense. So be aware of that. I feel like you have to let them know. You might have to remind them. I think remind is better. You might have to remind them that the door is open if they want to approach you, that you're not expecting them to be perfect with anything. If they need some help or if they want to talk something out. If they want to talk something out that you think that's smart, maybe just to understand where they are. Maybe if they just want to talk something out, that's something you're very, very open to, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing negative about that. Because I see them looking up at you, kind of like they might be putting you like a little bit above where they should. You know, when somebody gets put on a pedestal, that's unrealistic expectations. When you put somebody on a pedestal too, you put like a level between you and them, and it makes it feel like they're unapproachable. It almost makes you feel like, your questions are silly. that you're going to feel like you're going to ask them something and they're going to think it's stupid. Like, if you put somebody on that pedestal, it's a dangerous thing. It's just, I don't feel like that's a good thing. I really don't. And they might be putting you on a pedestal with, like, how you handle things and how well you do with things. And you do well, but you're also human, and you probably learned, like most of us, through the school of hard knocks. So, and I kind of like, they need to have that reality, kind of like, no, I'm approachable. No, I got here because I worked through it. You know, I don't think questions are stupid. I think it's better if you ask questions, and if you are unsure, even if it seems stupid to you, it's probably a good thing that you're double checking. Like, you have a more realistic approach to this, but they might be putting you on that pedestal. Just be aware of that. I just don't think that's a good thing to do to people. It might feel nice that you have that adoration, but it also puts a buffer, or like it puts a boundary between you and them. It can stifle communication. It can just be a problem. It can be a problem. Now, I find this very interesting that you got lizard spirit on your side, which I said at the beginning. You got seahorse, which this is exactly, these two cards came together for Capricorn too. It was very interesting. But you got the Six of Wands right on top, which is success. The lizard spirit seems to go all over the place, but it stays within its wheelhouse. It stays within its area, within its domain, but it can be all over the place in its own domain. The seahorse is just kind of hanging out, watching what happens. Based on what comes towards it, it reacts based on what comes towards it. When I get the lizard spirit for you, it's kind of like watching everything go down around you. There's these little mishaps, and I feel like that's really what you're connecting to. Seeing these little pop-up mishaps, just randomly here, randomly there. The lizard spirit is telling me you're very much aware of these little nuances. Even though they pop up in the most odd places, you're aware of them and you see them. That makes sense for me where this is coming. You're watching that. You're wondering. But you're also, with the Six of Wands, you're also like, how bad are these things and where are they leading to? Are they going to be a bigger problem later? You're making sure that, that cake does not end up on the floor. If we have problems, it's like having to redo the icing. That's one of those things. So you're very careful with what you're watching and just kind of like, let me see what's happening. Let me see where things are going. Okay. Success is here, though. The situation is still very successful. I feel like you need to come around with this person. I feel like you just need to open the door and remind them that you are approachable. I feel like you also need to make sure they don't put you on this pedestal. You got to bring back some reality in their brain. Like, listen, I'm human like you. I got here because of working through things and learning things the hard way at times. Bringing them back together, because there needs to be like a trade of information. You want to know what's going on, that these little problems are popping up, so you want to kind of gather information about that. They need to gather information from you about how to handle certain things better, because I feel like once you understand why these little pop-up problems are happening and where it's coming from, you'll be like, oh, well, this is how I handle those type of things. And you could, share your knowledge with this person, like, this is how I handle that. And they'll be like, oh, okay, I can try that. And you're like, good idea. You go try that. I feel like it kind of calms the situation all over. I feel like it could stop some of these problems. Maybe not all of them, but enough of them to where it makes a difference. I think that's kind of it. It's like, I feel like somebody put the lid back on the jar, like, and that's all we're giving for right now. All right, I think that's going to work out, though. I feel like this whole reading, the point is this person might be looking at you a little bit like they're putting you on that pedestal. It could be putting a buffer between you and them, like almost like a boundary that they're not wanting to cross, to where they're having a hard time communicating honestly because they don't want you to view them as if they're having too many problems. So if you kind of break that down a little bit, break down that boundary, I feel like you're going to get the information you want. The only other thing I saw here was like you letting go, forcing yourself to let go a little bit. But I feel like once you see the benefit of it, you'll do that anyway. Anyway. I think we're done. All right, I'm going to shut this down here. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. The information's also below. Thanks.